Okie dokie, we should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and welcome along to the coverage of the Qatar Grand Prix. We have got a sprint weekend this weekend, and since we've had a sprint weekend, we have sprint qualifying starting in 24 minutes time. Apologies for a bit of the delay. I just had a couple of issues just before starting the stream, so got them sorted out, and it should be smooth sailing from here till the end of sprint quali. Yeah. All right. So let me know what you guys think are your predictions. Who do you think is going to be getting on pole? At the end of FP1, we had all the drivers go out on a set of soft tyres. And, well, we got quite a lot of useful information, hey? Charles Leclerc was 4 tenths ahead of the competition, 5 tenths ahead of his teammate. Yeah, it was a simply brilliant lap there from Charles Leclerc, the only driver that dipped into the 121s. Everyone else was in the 122s or 123s. So a very distinct gap there. I think Max Verstappen obviously didn't go and show us his entire pace. He didn't go out on a set of softs to do a quick lap. Neither did Sergio Perez. Right at the end of the session, as you can see on your screen, Norris is out on a set of mediums, Piastri out on a set of softs. What they are doing is, the reason they sent Norris out on mediums specifically is because the sprint race tomorrow will most likely be done on a set of medium tyres. So ideally, you do need the information, the clutch settings, what will be the optimal clutch settings be for the medium tyre specifically. And so yeah, they sent Lando Norris out. A little bit of forward thinking. I'm sure all of the other teams have done practice starts already from the grid, but from the pit lane. But the practice starts from the grid are obviously a little bit more accurate in terms of the grip levels. So that's the situation for the sprint race. But of course, we've got sprint qualifying yet to happen, and then we will get the sprint race. In 2024, not in 2024, in 2026, we do have the potential to Cadillac, not the potential, it's most likely that Cadillac will be joining Formula One, which is fantastic. An 11th team, that will be 2 more drivers, 1 more team, so much more action. And I think it's a massive win for Formula One, and another massive manufacturer joining Formula One. We've had Audi joining next year. After that, we've got Cadillac joining. Maybe someone can convince Porsche to take part in Formula One as well. Maybe BMW. We could see one of them BMW M powered engines again. That would be fantastic. Which other manufacturers could we get into the world of Formula One? Toyota, they do a lot of endurance racing. I don't know if their Formula One would be their interest, but I'm sure they could. I think Toyota did take part in Formula One previously. I don't remember exactly when, but Toyota could. All of the big car manufacturers probably could. Quite a lot of them do racing already. But no, it's a great thing to have another team in the sport. That just means more positions for drivers to get into. We're not going to lose drivers like Valtteri Bottas, hopefully. I think my prediction is that Bottas will do a year as a reserve driver at Mercedes, and then Cadillac will try and sign him. When you're starting out a Formula One team, you ideally want very experienced drivers in the car giving the engineers as well, because these engineers that are going to be in the Cadillac F1 team, sure, some of them may have been hired from other Formula 1 teams and previously have worked in Formula 1, but not all of them may have worked at the absolute elite level of motorsport that Formula 1 is. So getting that useful information from the drivers know all about how every aspect of the team works, especially the top drivers like Bottas, like Hamilton. They invest a lot of their personal time to go out of their way and figure out how the team works, what can be improved, why certain things are done in a certain way, and all of that knowledge that Valtteri Bottas has, especially from the championship-winning Mercedes, years. I think Bottas would be prime candidate for Cadillac. That's the thing. I said that about Audi. But Audi didn't want to sign Valtteri Bottas. Now they signed Nico Hülkenberg. I'm sure there's some sort of German link there. Audi being German, Nico Hülkenberg being German, and then I don't know the reasoning behind Gabriel Bortoleto, but I suspect that the fact that his paycheck is going to be a lot smaller than Valtteri Bottas's paycheck had something to do with it. Yeah. All right. How was your lunch? My lunch was great, and yeah, thanks for asking. Right. Yeah, 20 minutes away from the start of Sprint Quali. We'll have shorter sessions as usual. So for Sprint Quali, it'll be 12 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 8 minutes, rather than the usual 18, 15, and 12. So compressed sessions, which means the drivers will only get, I think they'll only get 2 laps in Q1, 2 laps maybe in Q2 if they make sure to go out right at the start and then right at the end. But yeah. What else? And then, yeah, right at the end of Q3, I think it'll just be 1 lap. Can Norris win the next 2024 Drivers' Championship? I don't think he can win it because Max Verstappen's already won it. So I think, yeah. If you're talking about next year, yes, I'm sure Norris will invest a lot of time over the off-season to honing his skills as a driver. I'm sure he'll try maybe do some other categories of racing. Maybe he'll try increasing his fitness, increasing his mental and physical fitness. Then, yeah, I'm sure the drivers, he's already come up with a plan of what he's going to do over the winter to ensure that when the time comes and when he needs to deliver these performances, he is reliable. He can be there to count. McLaren can count on him to deliver when it's required, and he can count on himself to deliver when he is up against the best, like Charles Leclerc, like Max Verstappen, because we've seen this season. Lando Norris, he was challenging Max Verstappen significantly in terms of, well, not significantly, but he was challenging Max Verstappen for the championship. There was at least some talk, there was some potential that Norris could win the championship. However, we've seen time and time again when Max Verstappen is delivering his absolute best, like in Brazil, started in P17, won the race by 17 seconds. Lando Norris had all of the other things going for him. He was starting right at the front, and yeah, he was starting right at the front. He was in one of the quick cars, and he couldn't deliver. So I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll look at himself in the mirror over the winter and find some things to change, find some things to tweak, and hopefully go into 2025 a better driver. And we'll see if he can compete with Verstappen and Leclerc. All right. Who do you think will get pole? Will McLaren win the World Constructors Championship? Well, if we look at the World Constructors Championship, McLaren are on 508 points, Ferrari on 540. McLaren on 608 points. McLaren on 508. Ferrari on 486. I think I've done that right. Or it's the other way around. But anyway, point being, they aren't too far away from losing the championship. Looking at the current pace from free practice, Charles Leclerc seems to be significantly quicker than Lando Norris. Now, Carlos Sainz wasn't delivering the same levels of pace as Charles Leclerc. However, they will have had time to modify the setup. Sainz would have had some time to look over the data, see where Leclerc's braking, where he's rotating the car, when he's getting on the power. And I have a feeling that Sainz will get a lot closer to Leclerc once we get into sprint quali. So I think the Ferraris may be slightly quicker than the McLarens this weekend. So that they need to close up 12 points this weekend, 12 points next weekend. The gap between the two teams is 24 points. So if Ferrari can do that, then this is their best shot to do that. They're quicker than McLarens. Both their drivers are in fantastic form, a little bit too good of a form, as some might say. And but regardless, this is Ferrari's best shot of winning a World Constructors Championship. It's been a very, very long time since they have got even close to winning a Constructors Championship. So let's see what they can do. All right. Oh, thank you for the numbers, Gonzo Johnny. 608 for McLaren, 584 for Ferrari. Fantastic. Okay. Next season. I mean, next season we have no idea who it's going to be. Who's going to be up on the top? You know, Red Bull have been faltering. They've been on a downward trajectory. Can they save themselves and rebound? Will it be Mercedes that they're going to make the final step in consistency that they need to be able to compete for a championship? Will Ferrari continue improving their car, or will McLaren fix their upgrade slump? Their upgrades at the start of the season were fantastic, and they were making so much progress. Towards the end now, their upgrades seem to be going, well, they're not going forward, I can tell you that for certain. The upgrades may be going sideways, maybe going backwards, and will they be able to turn that around? Will Ferrari continue on their trajectory? Will Mercedes finally fix their consistency issues, or are Red Bull going to have the biggest comeback of the decade? All right. Red Bull is the fourth fastest now. Well, it depends. It depends on what Mercedes are doing. If you look at the lap times, yes, Red Bull are the fourth fastest compared to the other teams, but Mercedes are fairly inconsistent, so I wouldn't put it past them to be worse than Red Bull this weekend, or at least worse than Max Verstappen. But the other opposite side could happen, and both Russell and Hamilton could be competing for the podium. We just don't know with the Mercs. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, and I suspect the engineers are quite frustrated at that as well. They're probably trying to figure out why they are good some weekends, why they're bad some the other weekends, and they are probably just banging their head on the walls, getting absolutely nowhere. Is that a bug, or did Bottas actually get P6 in FP3? Yeah, he did. However, Bottas was on softs, fresh softs, and the other drivers were. Not everyone did soft tire runs. Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell, they all didn't do soft tire runs, so that's why they are significantly back. I mean, if you look at the gap between fourth and fifth, you can see, or fourth and seventh, like. In fact, no, fourth and seventh. Like Sainz did soft tire runs, and then Stroll didn't. I don't think. Oh no, Stroll did as well. But yeah, a lot of drivers did some soft tire runs. A lot of tires didn't. So that's why Bottas is up there in sixth. Or we could just say Bottas is super quick, and I think most likely what they did was they just took some fuel out of the car more than they normally do, and that's why Bottas is up in sixth place. What else? Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel. And hopefully I'll be commentating for you guys tomorrow. Well, I will be commentating for you guys tomorrow for the sprint race. I will also be commentating the actual qualifying and then the actual race as well. I'll be doing all of the commentaries this weekend. Brilliant. Some other things that I need to talk about are the track limit situation at this circuit. I was looking at the messages from race control. We didn't have a single lap time deleted over free practice. Now, I don't think they normally delete free lap times in free practice. I'm not 100% sure about that, though. We did see a lot of drivers go wide, and I think that kind of indicates that the track limit system has been disabled. However, track limits probably won't be that big of an issue, because at the Qatar Grand Prix circuit, there's the normal racetrack. There's the painted white line at the edge. To the outside of the white line, there is a curb, and then to the outside of the curb, there is a sort of 1 or 2 meter long or 1 or 2 meter wide section of gravel that runs parallel to the curb, and then on the other side of the gravel, there is a runoff area. So essentially, what happens is the drivers drive over the curb. If they go too far over the curb, then they touch the gravel. If they touch the gravel, then they lose time. So essentially, the track will do the track limits work for the FIA. The FIA doesn't really have to do much, because the drivers will lose time if they go onto the gravel, and because of that, they're just not going to exceed track limits. So there's probably not going to be too many issues with track limits. However, there are certain corners where they haven't managed to put gravel on the exit, and that's just because they're too high speed and it's a little bit too much of a risk. And on those corners, we may see some track limit extensions. All right. I wonder how you'll fit in 22 drivers on your screen. Oh, no, I didn't think about that. But that is also a problem 2 years in the future. So I'll sort that out 2 years in 2026. If I'm still commentating in 2026, I don't know. Maybe I stop altogether. Maybe I get a phone call from Sky Sports, and I'm on TV. Well, we shall see. But I think that's pretty unlikely. I don't know. I have no idea if I'll still be commentating or not. I know next season I will. I don't know about the season after. Because I don't know. I'll see. I barely have any idea what I'm doing next week. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing in 2026. So anyway, yeah. What will the point system be in 2026? The point system will be the exact same. It would be the same. The top 10 drivers will score points. It won't change to the top 11 or anything like that. It just so happens to be that the point system that we have now, half of the drivers score points, half of them don't. It's not necessarily you have to be half. It has to be half and half. All right. Let's see. Live. Let me get the. Someone asked where the DRS zones are. Let me show you on the screen. So the DRS zones are. It starts just around about here, I think, or just around the start finish line, and then you've got DRS all the way down into turn number 1, and that's it. There's no other DRS zones on this circuit. There is Monaco, there is Suzuka, and there is Qatar. 3 circuits with 1 DRS zone. I was trying to think of some more in FP1, but I couldn't think of any. All right, 2026 is only 67 weeks away. Is it? Oh my god. Well, I'm just not going to think about that. So, there we go. Oh, it's 56 weeks. Yeah, I would have thought, because there's 4 weeks to New Year's, or 4 and a bit weeks to New Year's. 5 weeks to 4 weeks to New Year's, and then 52 weeks to the. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, and yeah, we are 7 minutes away from the start of sprint qualifying. This has just gone off the edge of the screen. There we go. All right. Yeah, 66 weeks till the 2026 Formula 1 season, probably. You've done a superb job this year, buddy. Same as next year. Yeah, next year I'll definitely be commentating. I can tell you that for certain. Yeah, in fact, I think what was it? Maybe 2 months ago, 1 month ago, I set up every single live stream for like the next 6 races. So I set all of the live streams up till Abu Dhabi, the final race. And I'm probably going to set up the testing streams as well. I might even set up because I think they've released the calendar for all of the races. So I think I might just set up all of my live streams for the whole of 2025, just because, well, it makes my life a lot easier. So sit down for one day and set up every stream for the next year in the future. All right. Do you think this track will work for both Mercs? Honestly, Willem, I'm as good as a guess as any. I mean, you could flip a coin, and that would be a pretty similar guess to me. As of now, they don't look that quick. So I'm going to say probably not. I think the Ferraris and the McLarens are going to be up there competing. But, I say this, and then we're going to see George Russell come out in Q1 and stick it on provisional pole, and then I'll look like an idiot. So I've really no idea. 7 Flowers, your favourite viewer, is back. I'm sorry for missing the last few races. I had exams. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I've missed quite a few streams actually because of exams. But it's the way things go. You gotta prepare for your exams. Is this the same as normal qualifying? 3 sessions? Yes, it is. However, normal qualifying Q1 is 18 minutes, Q2 is 15, and Q3 is 12 minutes long. And in this sprint qualifying session, that has been reduced, so it is 12 minutes, 10 minutes, and 8 minutes overall, rather than the 18, 15, 12. Alright, I'll miss the stream so much in the off-season. Well, I mean, yeah, you'll be missing Formula 1 and you'll be missing the stream. Which one is it? I'm not particularly sure, but yeah. Alright, what do you think about Bottas replacing Perez? Well, see, this is the thing. Bottas could replace Perez. Bottas is out of a contract next year. He is potentially going to be test driver for Mercedes, but I'm sure he would much prefer to be driving in Formula 1 rather than being a reserve or a test driver. And Sergio, and we know Valtteri Bottas is a very consistent, dependable, quick driver, and that's what Red Bull need. They need an accompanying driver to Max Verstappen. However, it's of course up to Valtteri Bottas. Does he want to take the turmoil and because I think Valtteri Bottas is now very relaxed. He's basically doing whatever he wants with his life. I think he's doing a lot of cycling racing, and things like that essentially. But when you go up into a top team, there's a lot more commitment, there's a lot more media stuff that you got to do. And then you just have so many more eyes on you. Like Valtteri Bottas driving the Sauber this year, nobody's watching what he's doing. He could have a spin and nobody would really care. And there'd be no memes about it, nothing, no talk about Valtteri Bottas having a spin in a Sauber this year. However, if he's at Red Bull next year, every single move that he does, if he has one bad qualifying session, if he spins in a practice session, all of that will be under so much intense scrutiny. Does he want that? Of course, the racing driver in him will be like, oh, there's a faster car here, I'm going to go to the faster car. But of course, there's also the personal aspect. And that's why Nico Rosberg, after winning the championship in 2026, he probably would have had the opportunity to continue fighting in 2017. Oh wait, did I say Nico Rosberg won the championship in 2026? I meant 2016. And yeah, after winning the championship, it was like, oh, my aim here is done, and I'm going to leave. So, who knows? Who do you think is going to be number one driver for Ferrari next year? Ooh, that is a difficult question, but I think they're just going to do the same thing. I think they're going to do the same thing as what Leclerc and Sainz have, is they're just going to say they're equal drivers, and unless the strategy requires them to switch around, they're not going to switch. Unless the strategy requires all the drivers are clearly, one's clearly faster than the other. But yeah, you can't really put a clear number one, number two. Like Leclerc has a contract with Ferrari till 2029, and you can't put someone who has a contract till 2029 as a number two driver. But then you can't put Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, as a number two driver. So what do? You just let them drive, let them battle it out on the track, and hopefully they don't crash into each other and do a Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Alright. Hi, first time watching a sprint quali. Can you explain what it is? Yeah, sprint qualifying is the same as normal qualifying. However, the positions of normal qualifying dictate the starting grid of the race. The positions of sprint qualifying dictate the starting positions of the sprint race. Yeah, we've got the normal 3 qualifying sessions. The qualifying sessions are shorter. They're 12, 10, and 8 minutes rather than 18, 15, and 12. And that is about it. Pretty straightforward. What are your thoughts on this track? Is it a technical one like Singapore? All right, that's one good question. What else? Bold prediction, Gasly, P4, P6. Yeah, I mean, Gasly's doing fantastically so far. I don't know if the Alpine will be able to deliver the performance that he could. Gasly's driving fantastically, but if the Alpine can't deliver, if the car can't deliver any sort of performance, then he's still going to be stuck out of the points. Do you think Lewis will win again? Yeah, I think Lewis will win a race for sure in next year, but I don't know about a championship. Right, the thoughts on the thoughts on the track. The thoughts on the track. Honestly, it is it's a good circuit. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, or I wouldn't even know if it's good. Like, the problem is there aren't that many heavy braking zones. There aren't that many hairpins where you really have to slow the car down. The slowest corner on the circuit is turn 6, and I still think the drivers take that at 100 miles per hour. I don't know if it's 100 miles or 100 kilometers, so I might be slightly wrong there, but point being that there aren't really that many slow corners on this circuit, which means there aren't that many big braking zones, which means getting an overtake done is very difficult. So this circuit is a lot more like a MotoGP track than it is a Formula One track. All of these massive radius corners that are long and flowing and sweep left and then right and then left and then right. Great for MotoGP, not so great for Formula One. And the other problem with this circuit, well, it's not really a problem, it's just sort of a fact of the location that it's in. It's very hot, very humid. Currently air temperature is 20 degrees, so it's not that hot. I think last year it was a little hotter, but in fact we are underway for sprint quali. Let me just get rid of this data here and we'll get the sprint quali data. There we go. All right, we've got drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane and drivers making their way out as well. Kevin Magnussen, first driver out onto the circuit. But what was I saying about the circuit? Oh yeah, because it's quite hot, air temperature 18 degrees, and it's also very, very physical. All of these super long corners, the drivers are pulling 4 and 5G through all of them, and because of that, it essentially just makes it very, very tough on them physically. In a very similar way to Singapore. You know, Singapore is very humid and hot, but in Singapore you've got slow speed corners and not much lateral load. So we saw, I think 1 year ago, drivers complaining about, wanting to throw up, sweating far too much, not being and feeling a little dizzy. So all of these things really push the drivers to the absolute limit. And I think last year the drivers were on the limit. This year the cars have got even faster. So the drivers will totally be prepared. They know that Qatar is going to be a bad Grand Prix, and they'll do all their physical training. They'll do an extra 15-20%. But yeah, that is a challenge that comes with this circuit. Right, can you convert 20 degrees to freedom units? Well, just because if you said Fahrenheit, I would have said no, but because you said freedom units, and that's pretty funny, I'm going to convert it. It is 68 Fahrenheit, so not that hot. It is compared to what it would be in the day. In the day in Qatar, I'm sure it would be 40 degrees, which would be I think like 100 Fahrenheit or something. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, point being, the drivers are out on medium tyres because, that's one thing I forgot to mention. The tyres are dictated by the FIA. So in sprint quali, you have to use the tyres that the FIA say, and the FIA say in sprint quali 1 and in sprint quali 2 you have to use medium tyres. In sprint quali 3 you can use softs. So everyone is out on a set of medium tyres, and they will be lapping around, and we'll get a feel for which car is the fastest. All right, we have got 9 minutes 30 seconds to go of the session. Fantastic. All right, folks, I am going to have to pause the screen for just a second here, just to get everything synced up with my feed, and so the screen's just going to pause for 10 seconds, and it will be back. We've just hit 118k. That's very nice. But yeah, the screen's just going to unpause itself in about 3. Oh, there we go. It's unpaused already. Brilliant. Just so I can commentate of exactly what's going on my screen, and it's actually synced up to what's actually happening. So we've got Sainz and Leclerc lapping around, and Sainz is actually on a flying lap, I think. Yeah, Sainz is. It's looking pretty good. Driving over taking the curbs quite aggressively here, because the curbs are not tall whatsoever. There's the kind of curbs that you can basically pretend that they're not there and just drive straight over them, which once again is perfect for MotoGP, not so great for Formula One. But Sainz's pace is looking so good, so far so good, and he makes his way now to the penultimate corner, flicks the car into the right, and then onto the power he goes. Valtteri Bottas, top of the times, are 123.4, and we shall see what Carlos Sainz can do. Carlos Sainz, 123.5. He goes behind Valtteri Bottas. What has happened there? Valtteri Bottas, fantastic lap. Carlos Sainz, had a bit of a bad lap, clearly, because Charles Leclerc goes a tenth and a half quicker than Bottas. But still, I don't know how Bottas is only a tenth and a half back from the Ferraris. That makes no sense. But I'll gladly take it, more action for us. All right, we got Verstappen on a flying lap as well. He is looking rather racy, especially in the third sector. Very, very quick indeed. Opens that DRS flap just as he comes across the start-finish line, a 1:23.291. He is 32 milliseconds back from Charles Leclerc, so Max Verstappen's looking good this weekend. He didn't come out and do any soft tyre runs in FP1, but here we are at QUALI, and he's barely off the back of Charles Leclerc. One thing I do have to mention, track evolution is going to be pretty key here. The wind was quite strong at the end of FP1, so a lot of sand has blown over onto the circuit. That will slowly but surely will be cleaned up. Lando Norris purple in the first sector now. He makes his way towards turn number 12. This is a super long corner. He's half a second up on Leclerc. Turns the car to the right, a little bit off the throttle. Turns the car again to the right, a little bit off the throttle. And the same thing for the third corner. He is absolutely committed. Doesn't come off the throttle whatsoever. Doesn't even touch the brake as he makes his way through the final sector, and now into the final corner he goes, onto the power. It doesn't even come out of foot. The lowest gear that he's in is his fifth gear. He crossed the line. He goes half a second clear of Charles Leclerc. Wow. Brilliant lap indeed there from Lando Norris. Let's see what his teammate Oscar Piastri is doing. Piastri, it looks like Piastri is taking a little bit more of a conservative approach, not as aggressive as Norris going through turn number 12, 13 and 14. And Piastri is like 0.8 of a second down. It's as he goes through the second sector line, and he comes across the third start-finish line now, and he is 0.7 down on his teammate. A huge gap there. I don't know if that's down to fuel load, down to a mistake. I think it might be down to a mistake. Piastri was 0.4 of a second slower in the first sector. I think that kind of gap is only really caused by a mistake. Valtteri Bottas, purple in the first sector. Let's go. Russell with a fantastic lap up into second place. Look at that. Top 5 drivers, top 5 different teams, and somehow we've got a Kick Sauber there in 5th place. Guan Yu Zhou's still in 18th, so it's not like the Sauber's just suddenly got some magical new pace. Valtteri Bottas is just pushing the car to the absolute limit. K-Mag up into 3rd. Now the top 6 drivers are from 6 different teams. Oh my god, we're at the end of this season, but next season is going to be fantastic. Zhou across the line, 11th place for him. We've got Stroll and Gasly coming across the line soon enough. Gasly is starting a flying lap. Stroll across the line, 4th place for him. Fantastic. Now the top 7 drivers are in different teams. This is brilliant. Leclerc purple in the middle sector. We got Alonso up into 7th place. Good job from him. Sainz across the line for his second attempt. Now up into 1st place. He goes half a second quicker than Norris, and you can see now the times are tumbling as the sand is being blown off the circuit. Leclerc goes a 10th quicker than Sainz. Good job there. And Sainz has learned from his mistakes in FP1. He's closed the gap up to his teammate, and all is well at Ferrari. Norris comes across the line now. I think he's going to start a flying lap. Yeah, Norris is going to start a flying lap. We got Albon across the line up into 7th place. Great job from him. Max Verstappen currently in 10th, up into 3rd after his latest lap. That's on an old set of tyres, bear in mind. But I think everyone's doing just 2 runs on on one singular set of medium tyres. They don't have enough mediums to do 2 runs on 2 fresh sets. Gasly's purple in the middle sector. This is looking brilliant from him. He's on a fantastic run of form, and the car is sparking away as under his seat. He now makes his way towards the penultimate corner. The final corner. Rotates the car very nicely onto the power he goes. Nobody has got track limits deleted so far, and Pierre Gasly across the line, 4th place for him. Fantastic job. Is that, oh my god, is that the top 10? Oh my god, the top 10 are all different drivers. Oh no, the 2 Ferraris are at the top. Never mind. Oh, the Ferraris ruined it, man. But anyway, look at that. The top 10. Nearly 9 different teams in the top 10. What is going on here? It is so close. I mean, everyone's lap hasn't been Perez across the line, 9th place for him, unfortunately. Norris improves, fantastic second and third sector. He goes a 10th quicker than Charles Leclerc. Piastri is only 2/10 down on his teammate on this current lap. So yeah, he definitely made a mistake on the previous one, and we'll see what he can do once he comes out of the final corner. We got Sainz coming into the pits, I think. No, is he coming into the pits? No, Sainz is coming across the start flying lap. Piastri, Leclerc lets Piastri ahead of him, and now Leclerc's going to get a toe off Piastri. That's very, very good thinking there from Charles Leclerc. Piastri is up into 3rd place, and Charles Leclerc's got a little bit of a toe off him. Fantastic job. George Russell now, purple in the middle sector. So maybe the Mercs are quick. Maybe the Mercs are quick only in the hands of George Russell. Never mind. They're quick in the hands of both drivers. Hamilton up into 7th. George Russell across the line up into 2nd place. Great lap from him. And oh my God, it's happened again. The 7th time this season. The drivers, 2 drivers have got the exact same lap time. It's a 1:22.021 for both Norris and Russell. Wow, they are tied in 1st position. Honestly, next season is going to be brilliant. I mean, this qualifying session is going to be great. Really, we're only in Q1 and we've still got Q2, Q3 left. Liam Lawson is the first driver to get a lap time deleted. He's got a lap time deleted at turn number 5. And wow, this is brilliant. Okay, we got a replay here of Lewis Hamilton. Ooh, just gets a little bit sideways, a touch of oversteer as he exits turn number 12, I think it is. And wow, that looks great, really, for Hamilton, really pushing the car to the limit. But somehow George Russell can go 0.6 of a second quicker than him. I mean, I don't know how this is happening. A huge gap between the 2 teammates. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel. Yeah, we are on 540 likes. We've got 7,000 people watching though. So, yeah, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. Right. Here we go then. 44 seconds remain. The drivers in the elimination zone are Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Guan Yu Zhou, Nico Hülkenberg, and Franco Colapinto. Yeah, not ideal there for the Astons. They are on flying laps now, so let's wait and see how they are doing. Alonso is a 1/4 of a second up on Ocon, who's currently in the elimination zone, on the brink of the elimination zone. Sorry, and we'll see if that's just enough to scrape him through into Q2. Ocon across the line. And he is up into 9th place. Next across the line, we have got Tsunoda starting a flying lap. Lance Stroll is now coming across the line. What's it going to be? 6th place for Lance Stroll. Fantastic lap there. Now we've got Russell starting a flying lap. Checkered flag is out. Lando Norris comes across the line. Purple in all 3 sectors and goes 0.6 quicker than George Russell. Fantastic job from Lando Norris, and he's done this on 6-lap-old medium tires. 6-lap-old medium tires. Simply incredible. Fernando Alonso across the line. It's 6th place for him, and he goes slightly ahead of his teammate Sainz across the line. 2nd place for him, and he is still half a second back from his former teammate Lando Norris. Sergio Perez only 13th for him, and Lewis Hamilton as well is in 12th position, at risk of being knocked out if there's a couple more good laps from the elimination zone. Lawson across the line, 13th for him. We've got Bottas putting himself up into 7th place. Then we have got Albon and Colapinto, who are both on flying laps. We've got Zhou and Tsunoda yet to put their laps in. 4 drivers yet to come across the line. Colapinto currently in 20th, only 19th for him. Very, very unfortunate there. Albon across the line, he improves to 15th place, knocking Sergio Perez out. Hamilton improves up into 4th. Great lap from him. He's only a 10th behind his teammate. And Zhou's up into 19th. Colapinto back down. Sergio Perez eliminated once again from qualifying from Q1. Max Verstappen, his teammate, puts himself up into 4th place. Tsunoda improves, but not enough to get out the elimination zone. And again, Sergio Perez is out. I mean, at this point, they have got to fire him at the end of the season, and they have got to put in like Valtteri Bottas or Carlos Sainz. They've got to put someone in. Oh my God. I mean, if I want job security, I would want as much job security as Sergio Perez has. It is crazy. This guy can get knocked out in Q1 every single weekend, but still somehow keep his job. I mean, this makes no sense. Yeah. What can you say, man? What can you say? Why are they using medium tires? Because the FIA says that in sprint qualifying 1 and in sprint qualifying 2, you should use medium tires, and then in sprint qualifying 3, you should use softs. So that is why drivers are out on medium tires. All right. We are having a. Oh, we're having a little look here at a replay. I think there's a bit of confusion. Leclerc may have got his lap blocked. Oh, was it? Oh, was it Perez? Is this Perez that? Oh, Perez got his lap ruined by Leclerc. I see. That makes sense. Okay, folks, we have to give Perez the benefit of the doubt on this occasion. I don't think it was a total pace issue. I think Leclerc blocked him on his hot lap, and hence that is why, and that's why he is, and that's why he's been eliminated. Pierre Gasly got blocked as well, but he managed to just scrape it through into 13th place, and yeah. I think the only reason Perez isn't fired yet is because it's their fault for choosing the wrong development path to make their car too unstable for Perez to drive. They admitted it publicly. Yeah, that is true. However, it is their mistake that they have made the car difficult to drive, or it's too unstable for Sergio Perez. However, in this current position, it was obviously nice that he doesn't get fired for something that he didn't do. But also, if you look at it from the team's perspective is, we've designed this car. We need a driver that can drive it and deliver performances, and you can't do that, so you've got to go. I think that's also fair. But the other from Sergio Perez's perspective is like, why are you firing me? I'm not the person that's done anything wrong. You're the one that designed the car wrong, and now I can't drive it. So, but there's you have to look at it from both sides. I don't know which side is right, but clearly Sergio Perez has kept his seat to the end of the season. I don't know if it'll continue onwards to the next. Yeah, he called it as well. Yeah, he told the team at it was the Spanish Grand Prix 2023. They brought upgrades. The car was too unstable for Perez. It was manageable for Verstappen, and Perez was like, no, this upgrade is terrible. It's making the car super unstable, and the team just didn't listen to him. They were like, oh, Max is doing fine, so I'm sure next weekend you will be able to drive quickly as well. Don't worry about it too much. I think that's what their thinking was, and then they continued on their development path, and the car got more and more unstable. And then, they realized that, and then the car went from way too oversteery to way too understeery because they had to now try and fix the issues that they had created, and they were trying, I don't know what they were doing, but they'd messed up the car in some other way, because you can deal with an understeery car. You can slow down a little bit more for the corners, and you can turn in a more smooth manner. But with an oversteery car, if the car just snaps, there's nothing you can do, and you're in the barrier. So they totally changed the setup of the car to be, we're going to have so much understeer that we will never oversteer in the whole, the car will never oversteer, essentially. And now they're slowly but surely paving their way back up to the top, and having some, developing a proper aero balance for the car that isn't super unstable. Max blinded Red Bull by essentially driving so well that the car, that they couldn't figure out if the car was working or not. See, this is the other thing. It's sort of it's a double-edged sword. However, it's quite clear what you would ideally want. Like, Max Verstappen is such a good driver that he can adapt to anything. However, he can even adapt to the wrong things as well. Like, he can, as I said earlier, he can adapt to a super unstable car, which the team should not pursue in a development path. But Max Verstappen, because he's so good, he doesn't even feel like it's unstable. Like, he just drives in a slightly different way, and everything's all right. And the team should know that the car's unstable. We need to fix this. But they would never get that information from Max Verstappen, because Max Verstappen is just like, oh no, the car's fine, don't worry about it. So It's very, very interesting how the link between the drivers and the engineers works, and what the drivers have to convey and tell their engineers to ensure that they can get the maximum performance. Because clearly there was some miscommunication at Red Bull, and well, that's resulted in their downfall. Okay, also folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please be sure to do so. Hopefully we can hit 120k by the end of the weekend. The target is, what was I going to say? Hopefully we can hit 120k subs by the end of the weekend. And yeah, I'll be commentating for the end of till the end of the season. So all of the sprint races, well, the sprint race tomorrow, the qualifying tomorrow, and the race on Sunday. And then I'll also be doing FP1, 2, 3, QUALI, and the race for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. How do you think Alonso or Hamilton would have done in Checo Sita? I'm sure they managed more points than him. Yeah, I'm sure they would. Hamilton does slightly prefer an understeery car, but I'm sure he would learn to deal with the oversteery car. He was having some issues down at Mercedes when the car was super unstable, and George Russell was able to deal with it. So I'm a little bit less confident that Hamilton would be able to deal with it. However, I've seen some clips of Alonso driving like the Ferrari, I think the 2014 Ferrari, which is like the most terribly balanced car apparently, and I've seen earlier clips as well from him driving the Renault in 2005 and 2006, and it looks like Fernando Alonso can basically drive anything. And the other thing is that Alonso has won the Le Mans 24 hours. He wants to win the IndyCar. He's raced a lot in IndyCar. He's done a lot of different categories, which makes you a much more well-equipped driver to deal with those sort of scenarios that you don't see in Formula 1. Formula 1 is a very narrow operating margin, because there is a narrow operating margin when you're going at the limit of how fast physics and aerodynamics works. There's a very marginal there's only a limited number of things that you can do to make a car go quickly. So how drivers like Hamilton, who haven't really explored much out of Formula 1, they're very well suited to the Formula 1 niche, whereas Fernando Alonso is very well suited to everything. So I think that would make him slightly more capable of dealing with an unstable car. Right, the racing envelope is too thin. Yeah, that's a fantastic way to put it. Do you think they keep Perez and seems to have more wins the whole time? I mean, that is 4D levels, 4D chess levels of thinking right there. Keep Sergio Perez in the team, so when you need development time for the 2026 car in the wind tunnel, you've got wind tunnel testing time. Fantastic thinking. All right, but anyway, Sprint SQ2 has begun, and we've got all of the drivers apart from Hamilton and Bottas. In fact, Hamilton has come out of the pits, and so has Bottas. Everyone out onto the circuit now. Verstappen on a flying lap. He was purple in the first sector. Now Charles Leclerc has taken that away from him, and track evolution will continue happening, but it's going to get a lot less significant at this point. All right. What else? 7,000 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And yeah, be sure to hit the like button. Okay. So, let's see. Seven-time world champion. I'm sure he knows what he's doing in any car. Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I'm sure, but I'm just saying that maybe it'll take him a little bit more time to get used to like a super oversteery car compared to Fernando Alonso, just because Alonso has more experience in other things. But yeah, no, I'm sure Hamilton will be able to deal with it some way or another. And yeah, 6 minutes left on the clock, and we've got Charles Leclerc up in first place, Max Verstappen in second, Nico Hülkenberg in third, Sainz in fourth, Stroll in fifth, Lawson in sixth, Norris and Piastri yet to put in their laps, but only green sectors from Norris and Piastri so far. Maybe they've put a little bit extra fuel in the car, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, no purple sectors from them. A little bit surprising. Will Carlos go to Red Bull by any chance? Well, I don't know if his Williams contract has a buyout clause. If Red Bull decide that they want Carlos, then I'm sure they'll be more than willing to pay the buyout clause to Williams. and that will, and then that's the only way that he'll be able to drive for Red Bull. I think a much better option would be Bottas, but we'll see what they do. All right. Albon with the purple middle sector. Now it's Piastri with the purple middle sector. But a good lap there from Lando Norris. He's half a tenth back from Charles Leclerc. But look at that. The top three drivers, Leclerc, Norris, and Verstappen, within 60 milliseconds of each other. 60 milliseconds. Next season is going to be fantastic with these three drivers fighting for the championship from the outset. Oh my God. It's going to be fantastic. Never mind, Piastri has gone 1/10 of a second quicker than all of them, and he goes up into first place. This is brilliant. I mean, Piastri will be no longer a rookie in Formula 1. I mean, he isn't a rookie this year. He was a rookie last year, but only his second season in Formula 1, and he's performing fantastically. So who knows what he'll do in his third season. There is a clause that says if any of the top teams offer Carlos, he can leave. Okay. Maybe. Well, if that clause is true, and if that whatever the rumor it is or whatever, then if it's true, then sure, then why not? You don't think the bad blood with Sainz Jr. would keep the two from coming to terms? Well, I firstly don't know about any of the bad blood between Sainz Jr. and Red Bull, but I'm sure if Sainz Senior, said, if Sainz said that, I have a chance to win the championship with the Red Bull, then I'm sure his dad isn't going to stop him from winning the championship, because his dad has won so many I think rally endurance. I'm not 100% certain. I should really brush up on my facts, to be honest. But Russell on a purple first sector, and he is looking extremely quick here. Piastri should get out of the way as Russell heads towards turn number 12, and looking good here for George Russell. Sainz across the line, first place for him. Fantastic lap there, and he's a quarter of a second quicker than Piastri and Verstappen. Piastri and Verstappen have set the exact same lap time. This is 2 times in the same session that oh my God, exact same lap times. 2 times in the same qualifying session. I mean, that must be a record. That must be a record. And Russell up into first place. I mean, I said at the start of the stream, Mercedes could be absolutely nowhere, or they could be right at the top, and there's no way that we could know. And by the looks of it, Mercedes are doing they're doing both. George Russell up there in first place, Lewis Hamilton down there in 7th. I don't know how Mercedes have managed to do that. But Russell 0.3 clear of Carlos Sainz. Fantastic. Is it 3 times? Was it 3 times? Oh my God. Brilliant then. 3 times. 3 times has only happened once, I think, in the history of Formula 1. It's only happened once, and it was for pole actually. So we'll see. We'll see what happens next season. Oh my God. Now Lando Norris has gone a quarter of a second quicker than Russell, and the times still keep tumbling. I guess track evolution is pretty strong here. I mean, I guess if you've had for 3 hours a 10 km/h wind just constantly blowing sand and dust onto the circuit does get pretty dirty. And also, given it's a sprint weekend, there's not been much rubbering in, so the track is still rubbering in at this very moment. Whereas if it was a normal weekend, the track would have rubbered in by the end of FP3, and there wouldn't be that much track evolution for QUALI. Piastri, purple first sector. He is looking so quick, going all over the curbs there in the penultimate corner. He comes out the final corner now. What's it going to be for Piastri? 3rd place it is. He's 0.3 back from his teammate. All right. Drivers in the elimination zone are Lawson, Alonso, Stroll, Bottas, and Kevin Magnussen. Right. Merc, Das or don't Das? Listen, I can tell you for 100% certain, Mercedes is not using a DAS system or a DAS, a dual axis steering system. It got banned in 2021, and it's going to be super obvious if they're using one, and the FIA will just disqualify them, and they'll lose all their points. So I don't think they're going to do that. Alonso up into 9th place. Good lap from him, but it's going to be tough to make it through into the top 10 with 7 quick drivers. Oh, sorry, 6 quick drivers. No, 7 quick drivers from the top teams in 10th in the top 10. You've only got 3 slots remaining. Currently, they're occupied by Hülkenberg, Alonso, and Stroll. But maybe it'll be Albon, maybe it'll be Lawson, maybe it'll be Valtteri Bottas. Let's wait and see. Who's that? Max Verstappen's just improved now, puts himself up into 4th place. 9 seconds left on the clock, so this is going to be the final runs for everyone. The checkered flag is flying, and Alex Albon is the first one to take it. He comes out of the final corner. He goes all over that curb, just stays within track limits. Very, very well judged from Alex Albon. Across the line he goes, 10th place for him. That is going to be very, very difficult to get through into Q3 with. We've got Valtteri Bottas currently in 14th place, looking very quick. Lawson goes up into 8th. Valtteri Bottas goes up into 12th. Hülkenberg pushes himself up into 8th. Lawson back down into 9th. We've got K-Mag currently in 15th with the highest top speed as well, still unable to improve. Hamilton improves up into 4th, and Gasly in 14th. Can he scrape that Alpine into Q3? Yes, he can. What a lap by Pierre Gasly. Somehow managed to get that Alpine into Q3. And oh wait, have I spoken too soon? No, I haven't. Stroll and Alonso complete their laps. And that is the end of Q2, folks. Alonso, Albon, Bottas, Stroll, and Kevin Magnussen are the eliminated drivers. We have got Norris, Piastri, Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Max Verstappen making it through. And then, of course, the drivers from the slightly slower teams. We've got Nico Hülkenberg, Pierre Gasly, and Liam Lawson. Fantastic drives, especially from Liam Lawson, the rookie. Brilliant job that he's done. And in fact, Liam Lawson up into 10th place. Yuki Tsunoda in 17th. What's gone on here? I don't know. Maybe Tsunoda got blocked. I'm not 100% certain. I think Piastri got blocked in Q2. Perez got blocked in Q1. I haven't seen any replay about Tsunoda getting blocked. Maybe he just was not quick enough. Wow. Oh. F1 Gamer, I feel you'd be on it. It wouldn't be super smart to cheat, but did you see the drivers? Cams from Las Vegas, the pull of the wheel is super sus. I like the old system, just speculation from my part. I haven't seen it, to be honest with you. However, if it was before the race started, while the drivers were just on the grid, then it might just be you have release pedals on release release switches, not switches, but like release paddles. Essentially, you squeeze the paddles and the steering wheel can move forward and backwards, and you can take it off. So I'll search Mercedes DAS and see what comes up. But I don't think it's. It might just be. This is folks. I remember what happened. I think Hamilton and Russell were both complaining that their driving position isn't ideal. I think because Hamilton is slightly on the shorter side and George Russell's, I think, over 6 foot. I think Mercedes might have just made some adjustments for the two drivers in terms of comfortability. Like, it's just more comfortable for George Russell to move the steering wheel further back, and Lewis Hamilton can move the steering wheel further closer to him. I don't think it is DAS. I think it's just a little bit of adjustment for the drivers, because they are totally different heights. Russell 6'1". Maybe it's edited, maybe I don't know. But point being, they're definitely not using DAS because it would have been super obvious to the FIA, and they would have banned it by now. Ferrari require 24 points to win the Constructors. Well, they need 24 points more than McLaren. So they need to outscore McLaren by 12 points this weekend and outscore McLaren by 12 points next weekend. By 13 points next weekend. Because if both teams end up on the same number of points, then what will happen is that McLaren will still win it because they have got more. Ferrari and McLaren have both got the same number of wins, but McLaren have got the same number, have got more second places than Ferrari have. So that means that McLaren would take the championship. But that's of course assuming that both drivers don't win both. Neither of the next two races are won by McLaren or Ferrari, which is, I think, unlikely. All right, we've hit our 1,000 like target. That is brilliant. Let's just knock that up to 1,500 because why not? We are now. Let me have a look at the time. We are 5 minutes away from the no, sorry, not 5 minutes. We are 2 minutes away from the start of Q3. We've just got the mechanics had now just taken tires off the tire warmers, the tire blankets, and they are bolting them on to the car now. Very nice. It's going to be soft tires for the Q3, so the lap times are going to tumble even further. Currently, we're on lap 121.2 on the medium tires, but as they come out onto the softs, I suspect they're going to dip down into the 1 minute 20s. Is Leclerc getting a penalty? Not that I know of. I shall just double check. Right. 8 minutes though for SQ3. So I don't know if the drivers will have enough time to do 2 laps, like go out, do a lap, come in, and then go out and do a lap and then come in again in 8 minutes. So who knows? Oh, I've got some fun facts here. Apparently Max was partying till 9 a.m. in the morning after he won the championship in Las Vegas. So, I mean, would you not though? If you won the Formula One World Championship and you're in Las Vegas, why would you not party till 9 a.m.? Right. I don't think Leclerc's got a penalty. No. All right. Why is Colapinto in 20th? Well, it's because he was too slow. That's what it was. And I'd appreciate you not spamming. Thank you very much. All right. If Leclerc blocked Perez's lap. Well, they are currently doing are they doing an investigation? Well, Red Bull are going to go and bother. Yeah, Red Bull. Oh, we've got a green light at the end of the pit lane. So we'll be underway for quali. We've got Russell and Hamilton. Everyone's going out. I think everyone's going to try and do 2 runs. I think Red Bull will go and bother him. Will go bother the FIA and the stewards for a penalty, and Leclerc may get a penalty. Like, it looked like a pretty clear block, but it also looked like a bit of a misunderstanding. I think both drivers may have been on hot laps. I'm not 100% certain. It looked like Leclerc was trying to race Perez, but I think he was expecting Perez to give way to him, so Leclerc can take the normal racing line. Perez was expecting Leclerc to give way to him, so Perez can take the normal racing line. So I think both of them were on hot laps, and they just happened to be next to each other, thinking that the other driver was on normal laps. So we're on slow laps. So I'm not sure. We shall see. I don't know. Maybe they'll say both drivers. They can't say both drivers get a penalty. It's either one of them or. Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you know tomorrow what happens to the penalty situation. But it will be a grid penalty for the sprint race. It won't be a grid penalty for the actual race. Because the sprint quali penalties stay in sprint quali, or they stay in the sprint race, and the actual quali penalties will stay in the quali, the actual race. Okay. 6 minutes 40. Everyone is getting out on their way. The drivers sat in the pits: Norris, Piastri, and Hulkenberg. They are. I mean, these drivers are doing pretty quick outlaps here. They're in a bit of a rush, essentially. They need to. Yeah, they're in a bit of a rush essentially because they need to. They've only got 8 minutes to do their laps, so. Norris is going to do his lap in the middle, and so is Piastri. Both drivers are going to do their laps in the middle of the session rather than right at the end. So they're going to have slightly worse track conditions, but it's not going to be that big of a difference. Lawson's going to be first across the line to start his flying lap. Then we've got Gasly, then Verstappen, then Sainz, Russell, and then Leclerc and Hamilton. Okay, in the type, In the case of lap typing hot, hot, cold, cold, drivers do not need to cede position anyway, other than in the case of safety. Yeah. So we shall see. We shall see. I don't know if they were both on hot laps, though. It just looked like it, but I don't have any team radio to confirm that. So we'll just wait till the race control put out a statement. Okay, let's go on board then. We're looking at Max Verstappen making his way around the circuit. This is going to be his one shot of getting pole position for the sprint race. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough time. I think he's doing a warm-up lap. I'm not 100% certain. He's definitely not going that quick. So a warm-up lap it is for Max Verstappen. He gets overtaken by Charles Leclerc into turn number 6. Gasly, a 30.4 from him in the first sector. Russell as well, he's gone 34 seconds in the first sector. Verstappen 35 in the first sector. So Russell, Hamilton and Verstappen all going on warm-up laps. Sainz and Leclerc pushing immediately. We'll see what the McLarens do as well. Leclerc's tactically towing his future teammate. Well, Hamilton isn't on a push lap, so yeah, I don't think there's any tactical towing going on. But Liam Lawson across the line, a 122.5 for him. We've got Gasly, a 122.3 for him, and I suspect once we get one of the top drivers coming across, top teams coming across the line, then we're going to dip into the 1 minute 21s. All right. Charles Leclerc, a little bit of a snap of oversteer, but he gets a tow as well as he comes across the start-finish line. Now it's Verstappen, a slow lap for him. Charles Leclerc, a 121.7. Verstappen starts his flying lap now. Russell does as well. Let's see what Carlos Sainz can do. And Sainz goes, it's a mistake from Carlos Sainz. I think he'll have enough time. He'll have enough time to do 2 cooldowns and then a warm-up and then a hot lap. I don't know if he has enough fuel in the car to do that, but he can definitely do 1 cooldown and then another hot lap. But Carlos Sainz makes a mistake on his lap. That's going to compromise his final Q3 run. Lando Norris, purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector. He is looking really, really quick here. And no one ahead of him. It's totally fresh air. And sparks are flying from underneath that McLaren. Piastri, his teammate, is 4 tenths quicker than than Charles Leclerc, but here comes Lando Norris across the start-finish line. What's it going to be? It's 7 tenths quicker than Charles Leclerc. Absolutely huge from Lando Norris. Hamilton's now quickest in the first sector. This is anyone's qualifying, anyone's pole position. Piastri across the line, second place for him. He's only 2 tenths back from his teammate. He gained an enormous amount of time on him in the final couple of corners. And right, let's wait and see what Hamilton can do. He is Verstappen across the line, third place for Verstappen, but he's 3 tenths back from the McLarens there. We can see that Red Bull isn't all that quick. George Russell, that's third place for him. And what can his fellow teammate do? Lewis Hamilton, the car has been struggling in his hands for the past few weeks. He's bounced back last week. This week, it's going to be 5th place for him in sprint qualifying. And we're going to have one more run from Carlos Sainz and Nico Hülkenberg. Those two drivers are still yet to do their laps. Everyone else will not have enough time to come around to do another one. So it's Carlos Sainz versus Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz will have slightly worse off tyres, but I think everything will be fine. Leclerc might even... will Leclerc be able to give him a tow? No, he won't. Leclerc's not in the correct position for that. But... Or maybe they'll do another run. I'm not sure if they'll do another run. But I guess we'll see. All right. I wasn't expecting another run, but I will happily and gladly take another run. Right, let's see what the McLarens are doing. I think they're going to do another lap as well. Yeah, Lando Norris across the line he goes, and he's starting another flying lap with 1 minute 30 seconds left on the clock. And Oscar Piastri is going to do the same. Okie dokes, here we go then. I guess we're having everyone doing 2 runs. They're doing it on the same set of tyres though. I was expecting people to come in and then switch tyres, but apparently not. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. I'm going to be commentating for the sprint race tomorrow, and I'll also be doing the normal qualifying, and I'll also be doing the race. So I hope to see you guys there. But just for any of you that have just tuned in Q2, we had 3 drivers with the exact same lap time. In Q1, we had 2 drivers with the exact same lap time. This session has been fantastic, and the racing tomorrow is going to be even better. So Oscar Piastri purple in the first sector, quicker than his teammate by 0.2 of a second. This could be huge for Oscar Piastri here. Let's see what Verstappen can do as he comes across the first sector line. He's quick, but he is nowhere near Piastri levels of quick. All right, George Russell now, he comes across the first sector line. He's slightly quicker than Max Verstappen, actually very close to Oscar Piastri's pace, and we'll see what Lewis Hamilton can do. Lando Norris, though, coming out of the final corner, he's yellow in the first 2 sectors, cannot manage to find any sort of improvement in terms of lap time and goes into the pit lane. Oscar Piastri, does he improve? Not enough. He doesn't improve in the second and the third sectors. The tyre warm-ups just weren't correct, and he also exceeded track limits at turn number 6. Very, very unfortunate for him. Right, George Russell is still improving, though. He's 0.3 back from Lando Norris. He could snatch away pole position here. Lando Norris is just waiting, and in fact, they've come over the radio to say, I'll keep you updated on what's going on the circuit. Verstappen purple in the 3rd sector, but still not close enough to get ahead of George Russell. Russell now across the line he goes. It's 2nd place for him. He's still 63 milliseconds behind his fellow Brit. Lewis Hamilton currently in 5th place. Doesn't improve in the first 2 sectors. Doesn't improve his lap time overall. Lawson goes up into 7th place. Good job from him. Carlos Sainz currently in 10th after messing up his first lap. What's it going to be for him? 4th place for Carlos Sainz. And now we have got Charles Leclerc, the final driver, coming across the line for his flying lap. It's 5th place for Charles Leclerc. The McLarens are in a much better position for the Constructors Championship as Gasly comes across the line in 8th, and Nico Hülkenberg is making his way back into the pit lane. All right, so that is the end of qualifying, folks. We've got 10,000 of you watching the live stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Lando Norris has got pole position. Fantastic job. A little bit anticlimactic because he was in the pit lane, but fantastic nonetheless. And his teammate, well, it's not his teammate, his fellow Brit is in 2nd place. And, well, going into turn number 1, this is going to be very, very exciting. Very similar to Brazil, where Lando Norris and George Russell were going into turn number 1 at the same time. Yeah, Lawson got a lap time deleted. That drops him down into... that drops him down the grid. I'm not sure exactly where, but a lap time deleted for Liam Lawson. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the sprint race stream for tomorrow. If you could hit the like button on that and the reminder button, that hugely helps out the channel. But apart from that, have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you tomorrow for the sprint race. Yeah, look forward to seeing you there. Cheers, folks.